Thank you to everybody who's logging on for tonight's Teachable Moment. My name is Allison Valentine. I am the owner of Pop Studio. I am located in Fairfield, Connecticut. And my Instagram handle, if you guys want to give me a follow after this, is Pop Studio Balloons. And I'm super excited for tonight. So this is actually my first time on Instagram Live. So bear with me if there's some things that I'm not such a pro at right away. I know that some of my other fellow Teachable Moments from this series were also first-time Instagram livers. So I'm excited to be here. And even though this is my first time on Instagram Live, and it's actually my first time teaching with balloons. However, it's not my first time teaching. So just a little bit of background information on me. Before taking my balloon business full-time, I was an elementary school teacher. So that's kind of in my previous life. I did balloons and teaching together for 1 year. And then I realized that my business was growing and that it was something that could support my family. So I decided to take a step back from teaching and go all in on Pop Studio. And I'm coming up on 4 years in business this June. So I'm going to show you guys tonight what I'm going to be teaching is a fun centerpiece. And I have had a couple requests recently for neon themed. So whether it's a prom or a bar mitzvah, but this is also something that can be used kind of for grad season too. So I'm going to show you guys this centerpiece, and I do want to let you know that like this style here that we're teaching tonight, this design is a simple centerpiece. It's not super technical in kind of these looks. It's base design, but I'm going to be showing you some tips and tricks that I use to just make things easier and make things just move smoother when you're trying to create something. So also, if you guys want to ask any questions while I'm teaching, feel free to do that. I have my husband Mike is here with me. He is going to be reading through any comments or questions. Sorry, I'm just making sure we have all of our screens set up here. So Mike is going to be reading through any comments or questions. So feel free to type those in as we're going. I'm happy to talk and teach and answer questions all at the same time. So give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So the first thing that I want to show you guys actually is just a little fun element of this centerpiece, right? So it's neon here. Mike, I'm going to need your assistance for a second. But one of the cool features that we're going to work on tonight with this is actually lighting up this top balloon. So I'm going to show you quick how it all works, completed, and then I'm going to break it down step by step and go through all the directions to do that. So I might need to turn off my shop lights here for a second. Okay. So you guys can see now this is blinking. I have a special light in here. It will change colors. It can blink. It can strobe light. It can do fade or solid colors. So I'm going to take you guys through all of the steps for this. Hold on 1 sec. This one's not so bright. Okay. Mike, can you turn that off for a second?
Yep.
Okay. So now you can see this better. So here is our completed piece that we're going to be working on. So I'm going to go through step by step. I'm not going to spend too much time on the structure of the centerpiece. I'm going to walk you through. We're going to build one, but I have all my balloons already pre-inflated, so I'm not going to be inflating them as we're building, but I will tell you sizing and some information on that too, if you'd like to write it down, and also I'm happy to share anything at the end. Okay. All right, we can turn the lights back up. All right, lights are coming on. So one of my tricks that I want to show you guys, and I'm sure some of you have seen these before, I stumbled across this centerpiece stand kind of on accident. So in November, I attended the Balloon Boss Summit, and while I was there, I had registered to take my CBA exam, and I needed to bring my own centerpiece stand, and I knew that flying to Florida, I wasn't going to be able to get like a big, lamp stand that we're all familiar with in my bag, but I wanted something super sturdy. So I came across this stand on Amazon, and it's a telescoping centerpiece stand. So it connects, and the cool thing is that this pole then slides out. It says you can actually use this for columns, but it's maybe not so strong for those. But for centerpieces, I really, really like it. So I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks for using this that I have found to be really, really helpful. So I'm going to start with putting on our pieces. And today I'm using Sempertech's neon colors just because I have an event coming up that I designed this piece for, and it's going to be used for a prom that's coming up in a couple weeks. Okay. So I'm going to start. I'll read off the sizes that I measured these to, and I inflated using the Premium Conwin, the Twin Air Sizer 2, so the dual sizer. All right, so my first one here is on 2.0. If you guys can't see something, you could leave a little comment. I'll have my tech support help me out here. Okay, so this is 2.0. My next one is 1.2. Okay. And I'm just twisting these right around the pole here.
True Essence Events wants to know what it's called again. I think they're referring to maybe the stand.
The stand, it's called, it's like a telescoping column stand. I think they're on Amazon. I'm happy to share links to anything that I use. I have a couple fun things that I'm going to show you guys. So after this, if you want to send me a message through my account, Pop Studio Balloons, I'm happy to share links or information or answer anything else that you think of, like after the fact.
Picks by Annie says, does Joe sell these?
I'm not sure if Joe has these column stands, but I'm sure he could answer for us. But all of my balloon pieces here are from Having a Party.
Picks by Annie, another question, 2.0 equals how many inches? Looks like 7 and it looks like 8 and 7.
Yeah. You know what, guys? Hold on, let's look and see if we can. I use my sizer, but let's see here. It's a little bit, it's about 8. So the bottom one is about 8. And you don't have to use these same sizes. Like if this doesn't work for you, use whatever you'd like. Really I want to focus on like the other pieces. But I do want to give you guys this sizing in case anybody was curious, and I can send it to you at the end too. Okay, so we've done 2.0, we've done a 1.2, and then these two are 11-inch balloons. Now I'm moving on to 5-inch. So this one, these I'm doing at a 0.4 with this tip on there. Okay. But again, don't feel like you have to follow this design exactly. Okay. So I have my base, and now the trick with these is that when you are gonna add your top, you wanna pull the very top piece of this stand up, okay? So you'll see, right, it gets really long, and they like all nestle into each other. So you wanna make sure when you're adding on the top that you're pulling up the last piece, and I'm gonna show you in a little bit why that's important. So then we're gonna go again at the top, and you don't even really have to worry about where it's placed right now because this can be adjusted. All right. So then I'm going again, I have another 0.4 5-inch black. Okay. Then I have a 1.0 here. And my last quad, my top quad, is 1.6. And you're gonna see, as I'm working, right, this is sliding down, but don't worry, because it can all be adjusted. So now we've got our base, we've got our top, and I need to add something in the middle. So I'm gonna reach in, and because this top, these top 3 quads are on the very last pole, I can reach in here and I can like adjust this as tall as I want. Obviously for a centerpiece, it's not gonna be that tall, but just to give you an idea. Now I'm gonna add, to mine for this one, I'm gonna use a curl. This is a 260 curl, and I make mine using, I'll show this.
Before the curl, quick question from Misty Logan. What are the colors again?
Oh, okay, let me show you again. So, all right, I am using, this is the Sempertex neon line. So I have neon magenta, we have neon green, and then I just have black 5-inch balloons. Let's see, then the blue is just neon blue, and the yellow is neon yellow. So the Sempertex neon line, which I got from having a party, and they were so amazing because I placed my order like, I don't know, it was really, really late, like Thursday. I'm a night owl, so I'm not late. I think it was like 1 in the morning. So it was actually like Friday. And I wrote in the comments like, please, please, please ship this as soon as you can. I need it for Monday's Teachable moment. Thanks, guys. So shout out to having a party for always getting stuff quick. They are the best. All right, so those are the colors. Then I'm gonna add in a curl, but you can add in like really whatever you want. So a couple other just fun options that you could do on this is like the tissue tassel. You could use metallic fringe, really whatever works best for you. But these are a couple other options, you know, to make it your own. This one, I'm using the black pearl because for this event, we're doing primarily neon with like little hints of black. So that's why I'm using the black pearl in the center. And I'm just tying, I guess I should have said this before. So I'm taking the tail of the 260 and I'm just tying it to one of the tails of the 5-inch here. And then I did add on mine, I added just an additional like 160 on the end, really because these, I need to order a new bag of these. I forgot to order these, and the ones I have are a little bit sticky. So I just did that for myself to make it a little bit easier for building this one. But you could tie just with the end of this, or you could add this on. It's really whatever works best for you. So then I'm gonna curl it around the pole, and I'm gonna just stretch it, and I'm gonna secure this into my top quads here. So now we have our centerpiece, kind of the base of it, the body of it. Now we need to work on the top. So this is where the fun part comes in. I'm gonna put this down to the side.
Can we go back to the curl for a second?
Yep.
We have a question from Time to Love Balloons. Can you show us your technique for curling them?
Yes, I can. Sure. Give me 1 second.
Really putting you on the spot. You can handle it.
Okay. All right, let me just grab. Okay. So I use for my curls, I'm using the premium Smart Twist. I know that you can also do these by hand too, and you can use other inflators as well, but I like this one a lot. I find for me that it inflates the curls at like a speed that works for me. So sometimes I do them on the Twin Air, and it just for me personally goes a little bit fast. So I like to have this Smart Twist for my curls. So I've got a 260, and I'm gonna turn it on. Okay. And I'm gonna pre-inflate it. So putting it on here. I'm just using a pink one because that's what was closest, okay? So we're gonna inflate it and then we're gonna take all the air out. I like to use a piece of 1-inch PVC. This was just left over from probably a column or something. And you can cut this down to like whatever size works for you. This one, I don't know, it's probably a little over like 12 inches maybe.
Or 2 feet.
Or 2, I don't know. Something like that. Whatever works for you, it's this big. And you can like test out, this size just happened to be like what I had laying around, but it gives me enough space on it to hold on to things. So I'm gonna take this, and I hold it in one hand, and I take my thumb and I hold it, the tip of the balloon, and then you're gonna wrap it around. And you wanna make sure that the balloon is like nice and flat around the PVC pipe there, okay? And then I'm gonna take my other hand and I've got the tail here. Let's see, hopefully you guys can see this, okay. And I'm just gonna come down to the machine, and it takes a little like coordination because you're like holding the pole and your thumb on one, and then I've got my hand pinching the tail of this, and then I'm gonna use my ring finger to turn it on. Okay. So then that's how I make mine. I take some air out, just so that I can have a long tail to tie. And you could do them like tighter or looser. Sometimes I go back in and like just form it a little bit. Okay. So then if you want, if you have enough space, you can totally use this to tie in just with the balloon, or you can add on like an additional piece if you feel like you need that. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Again, this is a 1-inch PVC piece. And you can like experiment, obviously depends on what you like to use. You could also do these by hand with a hand pump, by like wrapping them around. So you kind of need something like stationary though, because you gotta use 2 hands to pump. So I try not to do that. That's kind of why I got this. Because it just makes things faster and easier. All right. Okay, so we've done the curl. We have our, like the body of our centerpiece. Now we're gonna move on to making the topper. So I'm gonna show you the materials first that we're gonna use. And I'm happy to send out links and like exact names to all of these things after the fact. So what I have here, this is a submersible LED light. And I'm also gonna use, this is a 24-inch white balloon. The light, I have a 260. You wanna use like clear or white or something that just works with your colors. And then I also have These are the click click balloon hang tags. So a lot of times you would use these to like hang balloons from a ceiling, you know, if you're doing like foils or something. So these are the click click hang tags. I got them from Having a Party. And I'm gonna use just one of those, and I'm gonna show you some tricks with that. Okay, let me just make sure. I'm missing my scissors. Hold on guys, my scissors have gone missing, right? Doesn't that always happen? Seriously, is this like a balloon people thing that you can never find scissors, right? And then, you know, when you're not looking for them, there's like 500 pairs. Oh, look, here's 2 pairs right now, see? None right here, but all around. My pockets, like in the car, you know, like in the grocery store, reach in my pocket, I have a pair of scissors, always. Okay, so what we're gonna do is these lights, I got them on Amazon too, and they twist and they take, I think these are like AAA batteries. Now here's the thing, you don't want to be fooled by these because in the listing, it told me that there was 10 lights. So I was like, great, I'm ordering a pack of 10, but no, what they actually meant was that there was 10 little lights in here. So I only got a pack of 4. But it's okay. But just make sure you really read the description. So this is the submersible LED light. They come with a remote. So you can see it turns on. They can do like solid colors, you can flash, you can strobe, or you can just do like one single color. But there's, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 15 color options on here. So I think these are a really cool option, really for like any color palette. I just happen to be using them with neon, but I've used them this summer. I used them for an outdoor party. We did just classic columns, and I used these on the toppers the same way that I'm gonna show you guys here. They were really fun. I've used them for like 80s parties, so I like these. All right, Megan might need.
Yeah, you want close up or you want me to just lower?
All right, I'm gonna make sure, maybe just come closer. So I'm gonna just have him bring this. Okay. So what we wanna do with this light is we're gonna tie it into the balloon. Because if we just throw it in there, then it's, you know, it could end up sitting upside down, and then you're like at an event and you're shaking the balloon all around and trying to get the light to flip back the right way. So we're gonna avoid that problem by securing the light into the balloon so that it sits flat. Okay, so. And the way we're gonna do that, we're gonna take one of these click click hang tags. So they're pretty long and they have a hole at the top. We're actually just gonna use one, and we're gonna cut it in half because these suckers are kind of expensive. They're amazing and they're a super, super handy tool. But you know, sometimes you wanna just save where you can. So I'm gonna take the top. First, I'm gonna start with the end that has the hole, and I'm just gonna cut it like in half. Okay. We're gonna peel this off. And when you see these, so from the hole down is sticky, the whole part itself is not, okay? So I'm gonna take this, I would do like, kind of fold it back a little bit and almost make it so that this part stays up. And on these lights, they have like a little ridge in the center, so that's where I'm gonna line these up. So I'm gonna take this tag and I'm gonna push it. I'll show you closer in a second. Can you guys see this? Okay. So if you see, I have the hole, the tab with the hole is here, it's like poking up. And then I have all of this extra tail. I don't need this, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna cut this part off. So now we have our tab, we have the hole there. But this is not really gonna stay like just on the one side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the other half, and this one doesn't have a hole, okay? It's just the solid, it's like the tail of the piece that we started with. So there's no hole on this side, but don't worry because I'm gonna show you how to fix that. So what you're gonna do with this piece is you're gonna do the same thing, but you wanna make sure that you actually tape to the other piece. So I'm gonna cover the piece with the hole. Okay. Now, so same thing. So now I've got the second piece, I've stuck to this first piece with the hole, and now you can see I blocked that hole, okay? But we're gonna fix that in a second. So I blocked the hole with my second piece, and then I bring it down and stick it to the light. I've got this extra tail of sticky that I don't need, so we're gonna cut that off. Okay. And then, if you guys can see that, so we've got our tab up here. And I'm just gonna go back in with a handheld hole puncher, and I'm gonna punch through it, just so that hole now is back. Okay, so now I've got the hole through both pieces. I just wanna make sure. I don't know if there's any questions. Now I'm getting so close, so I can't see. Okay, so I've got my tab. Here, wait, can you keep it closer? Because I'm gonna show. Okay. So now we've got our tab, and the reason that you wanna stick, the reason I like using the tail end of that hang tag is because it sticks to the side with the hole that doesn't have sticky. So it just reinforces that piece because you're kind of going on like a weird surface. You're trying to go up and over this little ridge. Okay, now we're gonna take a 260. I'm using a clear one for today. You know, get the air out, give yourself a little tie in the end, and then we're gonna just thread it through the hole. And you wanna leave 2 tails, and you're gonna tie it off. Okay. 2 knots, right? So now we've got this. Okay, we've got our light. Let's just make sure still works. Keep testing. So we've got our light with our tabs, we've got our 260 tied on. Now we're gonna get it in the balloon. So I've got just a 24-inch white. I like the white, obviously, because it's gonna show all the colors, especially like in here right now we've got lights on. But if you're outside or in a ballroom, you know, where the lights are low or off, these are really, really fun, and the glow looks awesome. And you can change the colors. Okay, so I'm just gonna take the balloon. I just use my hands. I don't know if some of you have that little gripper tool thing. I maybe had one at one point, but I probably can't find it. So I just use my hands, and I'm gonna stretch the neck. It looks like someone, I've never seen them. This is pretty and interesting, going to purchase them, yay! Okay, so we're gonna stretch out the 24-inch, and I'm just gonna put the light in there. Now, you wanna make sure that you don't lose your 260 tails. Okay, so they're gonna be hanging out of the end of your balloon. And I'm gonna grab my inflator. Can you turn this a little bit? Okay. So this is my twin air sizer. This one, I mean, the top, you can inflate it if you like them on the larger side, smaller, whatever works for you. I am using, on here, I'm inflating it to 20, and I used the trick where you remove the decimal and do the full 20. So I'm probably not explaining that correctly. But if you want, I can show that to message people after if you don't know that trick. I learned that from some balloon friends and from Liz Romani. Okay. So I'm gonna take this and keep my 260 tails in my hand. I'm gonna get the end of my balloon here rolled up a little bit. Okay. And we're gonna inflate. You're gonna make sure that you hold on to these the whole time that it's inflating. So then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tie it. So your tails are still hanging out and your light now, you can kind of feel it right here. And you're just gonna go ahead, give a tie, and make sure you get those tails all the way through. Okay. So now we've got our balloon tied, we've got our two tails, they're hanging out here. And this is like personal preference or depending on how tight you need it into the body of your centerpiece. Let me just move this out of the way.
YNGRY13, not sure how to pronounce that, says what name brand is the balloon machine?
The balloon machine is the premium Conwin on the Twin Air Sizer 2. Okay, so it's this one. I love this. I got this from having a party. It is an investment, but it is so worth it. I had said to myself, like, I put it off for a while, you know, just because it is a high ticket, like, item. And I have this taken apart because I basically don't really use this that much anymore. I was using like the sizing boxes and it was just taking me a long time. So I had kind of set a goal for myself and I was like, if I book another event with like 4 or more classic columns or 6 or more classic columns or something that is sized like a classic arch, I'm gonna take that money or some of that money and I'm gonna buy this machine. And I got it and it has been like life-changing for me. I love this and I use it all the time. So now let me move my scissors out of the way so we don't pop anything.
Put those in a special place.
Yeah, right? And just toss them somewhere, right? I'll find them like up on a shelf, you know, like next week. I'm not used to working in like such a small space. I'm kind of like work like tornado. And I'll just like plow through things. So I'm very confined here. But I'm gonna take this and actually I wanna show you a tip. Before we put the top on, I wanna show you a tip for transporting things. So obviously, right, our full centerpiece with the top on, right, it's tall. It's like here it is on the ground, so it's like up to my shoulders. I'm not that tall, but I'm like, I don't know, 5'3". So it's a pretty big piece, and I know for me, now I have a balloon van, but I started transporting things in my Traverse and I didn't have a ton of space. And even with my van now, I have a Ford Transit, but I have the low roof because I opted to get a passenger style van so that my 3 kiddos could still ride with me when needed. So I have the low roof and a lot of times like things that are tall like this don't fit that well or they're getting squished. So, Mike, can you hold on to that? So I'm just gonna show you this little tip. With these telescoping stands, right, this isn't stretched out. But if you feel like you need some more space when you're transporting, don't put your toppers on, keep them to the side. You can take these and you can push this thing down. So look, now it's like this big, right? So I've squished it down. Then I can transport it. You can like throw a bunch in the bag. I know for me in my van, like these fit right on the seats, so I can like line them down the seats, like the little people fitting in there. And then when you get to the venue, you just reach in and you can stretch it back out. Okay, you can hear these little. So you're just gonna stretch it back up to whatever height you need. So then we're gonna put our topper on. And now when you work with these, you can feel like they're heavy down here now because that's where the light is. And the light is sitting flat because we've tied it in. And because we've got those strings coming out, it's gonna sit flat. It's not gonna flip around or flip over. So also when you're putting this in, it'll move a tiny bit, but you don't wanna leave like a lot of slack in there. You really wanna get the 260s pulled down through your knot so that the light isn't like flopping around. So now we've got our topper on there.
Can you mention the kind of stand again? We have a couple questions about that.
Sure thing. This one they're called like telescoping column stands. I'm happy to send the link after to like the exact ones that I used. Hold on, let me see if I can show you the pieces. So they come with like this kind of like hexagon base and the pole. This is the pole separately. So that's these. I'm happy to send more detailed info on this after. And you don't have to you can make this with any centerpiece stand that you like. I know a lot of people make their own centerpiece stands as well. For me, I would love to make them, but I have 3 little kids too. So I've mentioned I have a 6-year-old and I have twin 5-year-olds. So I like this kind of a little bit crazy. So just where I can save time. So that's why I prefer to use some of these centerpiece stands just for the way my business runs right now. And down the line, that might change because we actually I'll share this kind of info too here. So my husband, Mike, who's here with me running tech support.
Hello.
He actually just in the last month left his corporate job and he is coming on board to work alongside of me and to grow Pop Studio. So I'm hoping maybe down the line I'll have some more time and I can explore making those different centerpiece stands. But for now, this is what I use. It works for me. Okay? So we've got our stand, we've got our top on, and then maybe we can hit the lights again.
Yep.
We'll back it up. No. All right, we're gonna put the 2 up here. Okay. Can you back that camera up a tiny bit?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Right there's good. Stop. Okay. So now I've got the 2. You can see on this one I've added a vinyl lightning bolt. I had it left over from another event, but these are really cool to add vinyl on. To give more value, to brand things. You could put, I'm using these for a prom. I could put the school name or the school logo or mascot or whatever. Also, if there's a corporate event, you could use it, to put a logo on there and they look really cool when they glow. Also, the thing with these lights that we have in here, they each come with their own remote, but the remotes will work for all of the lights that are in the kit. So I'm just gonna hit on and you have to kind of point at them. So you can see this one is strobing and this one is solid. So if you're at an event and you're like, wait, what's going on? I'm trying to control multiple lights. You get close to the actual light and get the remote closer to it, and then it will control that light. So now I can't see the words on here because it's dark. So, hold on. Okay, so we could do a flash, and then I'm gonna come over and put it close to this one, and it's gonna start to flash too. And then you can change the colors. So see now I'm so close that it's hitting both of them. But even look how this vinyl glows, right? It even makes the rest of this column glow too. So at this event, I know they're gonna have black lights, so other things down at the bottom will be around it, but it just illuminates the whole tops.
Couple questions about the decal. What transfer tape do you use? How do you do it? What are your tips for putting that on?
Sure thing. I'm happy to show that. Let me see if I can. I do have an extra decal. Let me grab the transfer tape. Okay, so I'm gonna put these
Do you want to turn the lights?
down. Yeah, we gotta put the lights on. I can't see. I'm getting old, guys. I turned, whoa, that was bright. I turned 40 last week, so now I'm like, I can't see anything, you know.
20 twice.
20 twice, okay. Okay, so, this is probably not gonna be really helpful, but again, I can send, happy to link. This is, it's called Transfer Tape for Vinyl. Really outstanding, never temporary. So, HTV,
What's special about it?
RONT. I found it in a big roll on Amazon, so I just kind of, it's like a huge roll of it. I'll show you. I feel like I maybe found this from another balloon person, and I cannot remember who it was. But this is the one that I used. I think this is like my second box. I don't know, in like probably 2 years. So it's really big. It lasts for a while. And then I'll show you. So I do have, I'm gonna put this down on the ground just while I do this. Okay. So I have, and usually for vinyl, I end up just going to like Michael's and buying either like the Cricut brand or I forget, Oracle maybe is the other one. I'm usually like, shoot, I don't have the color I need, so I'm running to Michael's, which is like right down the street. For the machine, I have a super old Silhouette Cameo, which I love, but it's really old and it's so loud, so I do need to upgrade that. But that's what I use. I use the Silhouette Cameo. Okay, so I have my lightning bolt cut out. This already has the transfer tape on it, so we're just gonna pull it off. Sometimes when I feel like it's really sticky, I'll do like a quick stick it onto like my pants or my shirt, just really quick, so it's not too sticky. This one I find isn't too bad. Sometimes like the Cricut or Silhouette brand transfer tapes are a little bit thicker and like really sticky, and I've had them get stuck on balloons before. So this is easy because it's just one big piece. I have a couple clients who have like really detailed logos with like small pieces that, you know, take forever to weed, and then it's really hard to put them on the balloon. So I always make sure that I do that in advance, like the night before, with air-filled balloons. Okay, so then I'm just gonna lay it up. This one kind of doesn't matter because it's just a big piece. So you're gonna put it on, smooth it out, and then just peel your transfer back. These lightning bolts are, I don't know, a little bit older. They're not like a fresh cut. So I use my hands and kind of guide it. I typically don't put the vinyl on when it's like on the column. I'll actually take the balloon off. Here, I'm gonna give you guys another like little nugget tip. Hold on. Alright, so you probably, if you use lampstands, have like 1,000 of these laying around, right? So I save them, my kids use them, they help me sort balloons, and we like put a little piece of paper down in the bottom, and they'll sort balloons, or they play games with them, they line them up and they try to throw things in them for like 3 points. But it also is helpful to like stabilize balloons. So take this off, and you can kind of line this up just in your little lamp stand. This is a little bit trickier because I have the light in there. So a lot of times when I do this, I kind of flip it back flatter like this, so that I have the space where I'm putting my vinyl is like right from my eye line down. But this one is gonna be a little bit wonky because of the weight on there. So now it's just in there. It's like a little stand for you, right? And you probably have like 1,000 around your workspace, okay? So it's in there. Now I can just hold it. It just gives me, I find when I do the vinyl on the table, I just have more control. Okay. Also with my transfer tape too, I didn't do that because I don't have like another piece here, but I will reuse this. Sometimes I'll reuse it like a couple times.
Does the tape get your balloon dirty?
Does the tape get the balloon dirty?
Yeah.
No, I don't find that it gets the balloon dirty at all. As long as you like, I mean, it'll pick, obviously it's tape, it's gonna pick up dust, so you wanna work like quickly. You know, when you're cutting your decal, you know, putting your tape on, and then when you're peeling it off, obviously, like, you know, you're not gonna leave it like hanging around. But no, it's not leaving any residue. I will say sometimes though with like the darker color balloons, when you peel the tape off, it does almost like pull off the like latex powder in those areas, so you'll kind of see like where the tape has come off. And what I do for that,
That was another question.
what I do for that is I take another balloon and I just kind of like smooth it out. You're not gonna see that on here because it's white, but I just take another balloon. And I don't typically use a lot of shine products, so I'm not sure how that would work with something with vinyl on it. I don't know if anybody asked that, but I'll just say that because, you know, the shine products that get rid of like fingerprints and marks and stuff, I don't typically use those. I've maybe used a shine product like a handful of times, maybe 4 or 5, typically because a lot of my clients have kids or things are for kids or there's kids around, and I know being a mom of 3 that like my kids go right over, I mean they'd go right over to this centerpiece and just like sucker punch the top, right? So I don't typically use shine products just because of like my clientele is a lot of families and even like older kids, right? Everybody like wants to touch balloons. So I don't typically use those products unless I have to. I've had a couple situations and where it, you know, a piece just looks better, but.
Question about the stand. A couple questions about your stands.
Yep.
Do you pick those up after you're done? Do you rent them out? Are they part of the price? And if so, how do you factor that in?
Good question. So it depends. Usually if I'm using these, I'm probably gonna go back and get them, like if it's worth it for me and the client, kind of, right? Like, you know, you have to charge your time and your travel. So I'll kind of work it out. Sometimes I've like given clients the option, like, hey, or I'll even say to them, like, you can drop these back off for me. It really depends on the situation, their budget, the client, where it is. I do try to get these back when possible. Either, you know, if I'm going down to take down like an arch and some other things, yes, like I would go, you know, I'm gonna grab these. Also because these have the lights in them too. That may be something that you wanna get back. They're not terribly expensive, but like they are a cost. So if I cannot go back to get them, then I would factor that in to my pricing. I hope that helps answer. Okay, I'm gonna put this, I'll top her back on. Okay. So now we've got our completed centerpiece here. And a couple other things, like this same kind of light method that I showed you, you could, you know, use these same tops. You could put them on classic columns. You could put them on party columns, party towers, crazy towers, really like whatever. You could even probably like work these into a garland. You could, you know, hang these from the ceiling. You could float them in a pool. So
Say it one more time with the.
yeah. So we'll show it one more time with all the lights. Okay. Right? So even too with the vinyl, like it's making those lightning bolts. glow, which is really cool. And it's not specifically a black light like product. It's just the LED, but you can change the colors, right? And then let's see, we've got, right? So I love when they do these. You can do like a slow fade on them. We've got, now they're like kind of going different. So if you're setting these up at a venue, you do want to make sure that you're getting them all like synchronized. And the best way to do that is like to separate them and get close to the topper with the remote. All right. So we have one other quick thing to show you guys. So I'm just going to give you like another little variation on the centerpiece stand. So can you hit that, the big light? Mm-hmm. Actually, both lights. I don't know if there's any other questions right now. Feel free to ask if you've got any.
Lots positive vibes.
The lights are fantastic. Awesome. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna show you just one last thing. So I will say with these stands, they're okay for inside. I would not use these outside unless you add some sort of additional weight to them, and that would kind of just depend on your event space and weather and what's going on. Are you under a tent? Are you totally outside? So these I would not just go like plop these at an outdoor event because a little gust of wind will definitely take them down. But you could kind of reinforce this with like a water weight or a sand weight, drop them down in the middle. You could probably even like secure this to something else, like a bigger piece of wood, or I know some people use like tiles. So that's something that I just want to note on these, is that I wouldn't recommend these outside. However,
show the kind of lights they are again.
Oh yeah. Oh, hold on. Now I put them both in balloons. Let me get another one.
And do you take the remote? You don't leave the remote.
I leave the remote.
You leave it with the client?
I will leave the remote. Okay, so the lights come, these were a 4-pack, which they tricked me. I thought it was a 10-pack. It's not, it's just 4. But there are 10 little lights in here. So this is what they look like. They're like a little hockey puck size, maybe. I don't know, I'm not super sporty. So they open up, you put in, it's 3 AAA batteries, and then you turn them, secure them, and they come with one remote. So I got 4 lights, and you get 4 remotes. So typically what I will do is I'll leave like 2 with the client, and then I'll take like 1 with me or 2 with me or whatever I have. And you want to give them to like responsible people, and I'll usually take a second to like show somebody how they work, but I haven't had any people have trouble with them. Like they can kind of figure it out. So there's like all the colors on here, and they can play with it too. Like obviously it's up to your client, you know, you're gonna make it, but if they decide like, yeah, we really want it to strobe faster, or we just want like solid pink, you know, they can certainly change it too. So it kind of gives them some options, but I would definitely like set it, and I believe that you can like set these, and then when you turn them off, they'll turn back on to your last setting, I think. But I wouldn't leave them going, like if I was setting up, I don't know, multiple hours before the event start, I wouldn't leave them on. I would turn them off and then show somebody else how to like go around.
And a reminder of the name of the tab of the tape that you used.
Okay, the tabs again are, hold on. This is a really small workspace for me. Okay, they are the click, click, balloon, hang, tabs. So these are from Having a Party. They're the Click Click brand. And these are great too for like ceiling installs if you're gonna hang foils from the ceiling. I've used these for that also. But I always like to find like other uses for things. And you know, just use things in like as many ways as I can. So these again are the Click Click balloon hang tabs. They come 50 in a pack, and for these we cut one in half and hole punched it. Don't forget that part. Okay. So one last little like tip that I'm going to show you guys how to transition this, or how I would transition this to an outdoor event, what I would do. I'm not gonna remake it, but I'm gonna show you like how I would change this so that, right, this is not gonna work outdoors. You may even need, like, depending on your venue too and what's going on, you might even wanna throw an extra little weight down here just to be extra safe. So I typically, again, just for me personally, to save time, I do use a lot of the lamp stands, and I try whenever I can to go back and get these, or to have clients bring them back to me. Sometimes I'll tell them like, hey, if you bring these back, it'll, you know, the pricing will be this different. I know some people sometimes give like a credit towards something else, so you could kind of do whatever works for you. Sometimes I do just leave them, you know, but I make sure that that's accounted in my pricing if I know that that's gonna happen. Okay, so this is my last little tip for you guys. All right, so we've got our lamp stand, and I don't know if you've ever been like working with one of these, and I find this happens for me with columns a lot. It's like I'm making a classic column, or okay, I'll send it after.
Okay.
I'll send it after. So I find when I'm making columns with the lamp stand, sometimes like, you know, you're at a height and you're like, okay, if I add like this, right, it's close to the top, but sometimes I just want that extra like security of the pole coming up to really where I want my last quad of balloons ending. But then if I like put a whole other pole, now it's too tall. And like sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it just throws the scale off a little bit. So I'm gonna show you guys a really, really easy way to fix that. So this is again like what I would use outside, but here's just like a general tip when you're working with these, right? So my pole, I'm like, it's okay, I could adjust it. Sure, I could slide things up, but if I want a really precise size on it, what I do is I actually will cut these poles in half. Now this, I'll show you. So I will cut the lamp pole into like a little half guide here. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So the tool that I use for this, and you may already have this in your kit if you work with like a lot of like EMT pipe. This is a, this one is a tubing cutter, and it will cut pipe. So this, I could send this information after too. But what I do is, so I got this tool. I don't know if you want to bring the camera a little closer. Okay. Like this way. Perfect. Okay, thanks. So I have this tool. This is, again, it's called a tubing cutter. And it has like this little knob that you twist, and it adjusts this piece larger or smaller. So you're gonna open this up, and then you're gonna take your piece of your lamp stand and you're gonna put it in here, and then you're gonna tighten this up until it stays, okay? So the way that this works is you basically swing it around the pole and you tighten it as you go. So it's gonna like score the pole, then you're gonna tighten it, it's gonna score it more, and eventually it cuts through. Okay, so I'm gonna tighten this and I'm gonna swing it, twist it, sometimes I end up twisting the pole. I guess it depends. So I've twisted it around, and now I'm gonna tighten this up. I can feel it. So you keep twisting. Tighten and twist. Tighten and twist. And let's see. You can kind of see in there it's starting to make this like little line. So it's cutting through. So I'm gonna twist, 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 and then eventually it's gonna snap in half. Okay. So now you have two shorter pieces. You've cut that one long piece in half. So now you can use these to just give you like a little bit more custom sizing when you're working with these lampstands. So a couple things to keep in mind. When you cut this, it does make like a little bit of a sharp end on one side. So what I do for that is I just take a little 5-inch balloon and stretch it over the top. Now, the other thing is that then once you cut these in half, you're eliminating the threaded part of these poles. So basically only one side is gonna connect. The side where you cut no longer has those threads in there. So if you do this and you're like, oh my God, I can't get this back on, like what did I do? Just flip the pole over, flip the little piece over. So I'm gonna put in my little threaded connector. And then now you need to look for which side has the threads again. I'm gonna use this one because it already has the topper on it. So I put my little 5-inch topper on it, and then you're just gonna twist that in there. Okay. And mine didn't quite go in straight. Fix it. I'm working tall. I'm short, so I like work on the ground too. Okay. So we're gonna twist it in. This one is not wanting to cooperate. Okay. It's just like a little off, but hold on. Have you guys ever had this happen too? When you're like, the worst is when you put something together and then you go back and like it just tips. Okay. So there we go. I just want to take it off and start it over. So now I have my lamp pole here. This has 1, 2, 3.5 pipes on this. So this is, yeah, right? These poles, like they're great. They're great tools sometimes, right? It just depends on the situation and like what you're making. Did I get the pipe cutter at Home Depot or Amazon? I got this one on Amazon because I couldn't find my one that I got at Home Depot. So I like Amazon Primed one. But they have them at both places. You could probably get it at Lowe's or like any hardware store should have these. Okay. And I think that is it. That's what I have for you guys tonight. So thank you so much for joining. And yeah, I hope this was like helpful. I tried to give some little like tips and tricks here of things that help me when I'm working. And I'll see if there's like any other last questions. I'm happy to share. Like I tried to give the names, but I know sometimes it's hard to get that information written down when you're watching. So I'm happy to like send links or exact names to things if you want to message me after this. You guys can find me like linked through Having a Party, but again, I'm Allison. My company is Pop Studio out of Fairfield, Connecticut. And my Instagram handle is Pop Studio Balloons. And I'll just see if there's like any last questions. Feel free to type them in, and I'll give that like a second. But thank you, everybody. This was my first time. Again, this was my first time being on Instagram Live, and my first time teaching with balloons, even though I was formerly an elementary school teacher. So it's not my first time teaching. It's actually not my first time teaching virtually. So just a little like fun fact about me. Through the pandemic, I taught first grade from a closet in my house, and I taught a class that I think I started with like 16 kids. And so I'm not a stranger to virtual teaching or to teaching, but this was my first time on Instagram Live, my first time teaching with balloons. So I hope that it was helpful. I hope you guys learned something. If you put any of these things into action, please, 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 like tag me, message me, let me know if any of this info was helpful, if it helps you, sell something, get a new client, or if it just helps make one of your events a little bit easier with some of these tips and tricks. Okay. Any other questions?
Just how you price this thing.
Oh, for pricing, so basically for pricing, I do a job cost form for all of my pieces. So I have that, I use like the Qualitex job cost form, and I calculate my materials, the time that's needed to make them. It also calculates your overhead, and I will say, for me, that's been a change. So I have to do like a little reevaluating on things because I've moved from a home-based business to now being in a workshop. So I just moved into my workshop, like I got the keys like right before the holidays, and we're really now kind of like fully set up. So I'm taking on additional expenses just by having this physical location. So those are things that you have to take into account, but I would totally recommend downloading one of those job cost forms, because sometimes you think in your head like, oh, this is X amount, but then when you really break it down, like you might be short on something, or you can also see like how much profit you're making on something. So I find those super, super helpful. I'm sorry, that's not like an exact price, but I know my expenses will differ from others. So that's what I would recommend is looking at one of those cost forms and using that, and like using it every so often to check yourself. And if you have a change in your situation too, if you go from a business that has like, you're using a personal car and then you buy a van, right? That's an expense to your business. So you have to be factoring all those things in, not just like your materials and time, but also your overhead and what does it cost to run your business? So that's how I do my pricing with those forms, and that's what I would recommend to others. Perfect. Anything else? All right. So thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. I hope you had a good time learning. And please let me know if you put these things into action. I would love to see it. And also thanks again to Having a Party for including me in this Teachable Moments series. These guys truly are the best. I mean, they're close to me too. I'm about maybe an hour and a half away from them, but I know like when I place those orders and I put in that comment line, like please, I need this ASAP. Like they always come through. Those boxes are, on my stairs like the next day if needed. So they are such supporters and just really amazing people. So thank you again to Having a Party, and thank you to everybody who logged on tonight and joined me for this teachable moment.